book and wax friends. I'm Amber. Welcome if you're new. Welcome back if you are returning. And today's video is my Books and Bars series, which is my wrap up for the month. So this is for the month of May. This is all the books that I have read in May and the wax that I chose to go with each title. So there will be timestamps for all of everything, and I always do the home fragrance at the end so you can skip to what you want to see. So let's first take a look at my official TBR for May. And as you can see, it was 6 books were on my official TBR, and I finished the 3 books and did not the other 3. So I never got to the book jumper, and then I had 2 DNFs with the Guinevere Deception and the Gilded Wolves. Now, for those 2 books, they're soft DNFs. I may someday get to them. There wasn't anything I disliked about them. They just didn't, I just wasn't into them as I was reading them. And I didn't want to put myself in a book slump by trying to force myself to get through a book that I wasn't feeling. And so for now, anyway, those 2 books are being DNF'd. Okay, so moving on to the books that I did get to in the month of May. It was a good reading month. My lowest rating was a 3.5, and I had 3 5 stars. So this definitely makes up for April, because April I didn't have any 5 stars at all. And so I'm very excited. So I always go in order of what books I read first on down, so let's jump into that. The first one I read was the sequel to Assistant to the Villain, and that is Apprentice to the Villain by Hannah Nicole Mayer. And this one I gave 4 stars to. I can't go into a lot of detail about this one since it is a sequel, but this series is a fantasy series that's on the more comedic side. It is about a girl named Evie Sage. In the first book, she's looking for a new job, and she comes across the villain of their land in the woods who's trying to escape some of the king's guard. And she comes across him, and he's wounded, and she ends up helping him. And from that, he ends up giving her a job in his corporation, his villainous corporation, as his assistant. And so things ensue from there, and you get to this one. So I did really enjoy it. It was funny, like the first one. This is a very slow burn romance, just so you know. Very slow burn, which I don't mind. I do like the slow burn, but just so you're aware. And in this one, you have more of a dual point of view. You have Evie's point of view, and you have the villain's point of view. And it was good. I like the first one better, mainly because of, even though I like the slow burn, it got to the point where it was driving me nuts in this book, because I wanted them to just communicate with each other, and they weren't, type of thing. So that drove me nuts. And then there's a little bit more kind of harsh profanity in this one, and I think that's because you're in the villain's point of view more, and I wasn't a fan of that. So that knocked my star rating down as well. Did I say I gave this 4 stars? I'm pretty sure I said at the beginning, but just in case, I give this one 4 stars. So I do recommend the series. I'm excited for the 3rd book, which does come out this year, and I will purchase that one. I'm not sure if I'll keep the series long term, just because there are those elements in the series that I'm not a fan of. So I might not keep the book series forever, but I enjoyed my time, and I'm sure I'll enjoy my time in the third one, and hopefully we finally go somewhere with the third one in regards to them declaring their feelings. I don't know. I guess that was kind of a spoiler for the second one, but just know it's very slow burn. Okay, next up, after that one, I read a book on audio, and it was Bound by Ravens. And this one, I do not remember who wrote the Jessica something. It'll be up here because I will have the graphic here, so you'll see Jessica something or other. Whatever. So this was a really good book on audio. I very much enjoyed it. I gave this one a 3.5 stars. It is about a girl named Taryn Hunt, and she works for this like crime boss syndicate. She's bound to them because she was framed when she was a couple years younger. She was framed for something that she didn't do. And so to work off her debt, even though it wasn't a debt that she had done, she has to work for this like crime boss person that steals, that wants them to steal and make money, blah, blah, blah. You know how it is. And there is also a rival crime boss gang, and this guy named Finn, what was his last name? Finn Brannon, is also kind of indentured to this crime boss family gang. And they both end up getting embroiled in this heist where they have to steal something, and it will help them earn money towards getting out of the business, so to speak. So that's where it starts. It is a romantic-y kind of. It was good. I enjoyed it. If I said already, I think I did already said the audio was really good. The audio, the narrators for the audio, it was dual narration for the male main character, and when it was his point of view, and then the female main character, and they both had Irish accents, so I was very much a fan of that. It was enjoyable to listen to them, and I enjoyed the story. It wasn't a super high stakes story. I wouldn't say it was completely cozy either, but I think it has been categorized in the more cozy fantasy aspect, but I wouldn't say it is completely cozy because there are definite stakes in it. It's just not like an all-encompassing, sweeping story. It is a standalone, but there are other books that are in the world, like connected, like interconnected, I guess. I think the second book's called Night Market, The Night Market, and then I think there's a third book either coming out or recently came out that also takes place in the same world. So, but their story, Finn and, what did I say the girl's name was? Taryn, their story is complete in the first book. So I enjoyed it. It was good. 3.5 stars. The next book I read was Lovely War. This is by Julie Berry. This was my first 5-star of the month. I really, really loved this one. This is one that I did end up listening to on audio as well. And again, great narration in this one. So this is about World War I and about two couples in World War I. And it is narrated by some Greek gods, mainly Aphrodite. And she is trying to plead her case in front of her husband. I do not remember his name. Festus, something like that. Festus. Anyway, because she was caught with Ares, the god of war. Her husband caught them together, and so she's trying to plead her case and relaying the story of these two couples in World War I, and how, you know, it relates to love and how that sort of thing. So it was really good. I liked that little bit of like magical realism element in it, in that it was narrated and, you know, told by Aphrodite, and then some of the other Greek gods ends up coming in and talking about the story too, because they were there as well during that time. And so it's about Hazel and James, and they meet at the beginning right before he ends up being shipped off to war during World War I. And he comes across her in this club where she's playing piano for all the soldiers and stuff, and they hit it off right away. And it's pretty much like love at first sight for them. And he ends up having to go to war earlier than expected. And they're in England at the time. And so from that instance, Hazel decides that she is going to help out in the war, enlist in her own way. She ends up joining the YMCA to help in regards to like the music for the soldiers, to help them with their, you know, keep up their spirits, that sort of thing. And so she ends up going to France, and that's kind of where the story begins. And then she meets Colette, who is a singer who is from Belgium, who had a bunch of tragedy happen to her. And they meet Aubrey, who is a Black U.S. soldier who comes over to try and help fight in the war too, to help their cause in regards to racism and segregation, all that awful stuff that was happening in the United States at the time. And so that's where all the stories start pretty much, and they intermingle with each other. Colette and Hazel become really close friends, and it's just a wonderful story. I really enjoyed it. I'm not all the way into like historical fiction, but I liked this because of the way it was told. The story was beautiful. It was about love. It was about acceptance. It was about all the hardships that they were dealing with at the time. And it was wonderful. It was beautiful. I loved it. 5 stars. So highly recommend this. Even if you are like me, where you don't normally gravitate towards historical fiction, I would say give this one a shot, because it was wonderful. So that was that one. Then after that, I read another 5-star book. I got 2 in a row, and that was Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. And I've been meaning, if you've seen my like 25 books in 2025, this is on the list. And I've been meaning to read it for what feels like forever, and I finally picked it up. And I'm so glad I did, finally. It was so, so good. So this was for the prompt on my official TBR orange cover. And so this is a fantasy series. It is high fantasy, and it takes place on this world where everything is pretty much dead. Everything's dead and dying. It's a very like deserty type of world, and it's called the Final Empire. Luthadel is the city. I'm looking at the maps because I don't remember exactly all the names of everything, but the actual world well, it's called the Final Empire. I don't remember the actual world name. That might be just what they call it. So the Final Empire is ruled over by this, he's pretty much a god. They consider him a god, and he is like the ruler of their world. And there are slaves in this world that are called ska, and then there are the higher up people, and they're all ruled by the Lord Ruler. And there are people with magic, and usually it's the aristocracy that have magical abilities, whereas the ska aren't supposed to. But as times happens with those types of things, some ska end up with magical abilities, and the magic is based in metals. So a person ingests a certain type of metal, and they are able to do certain things. It like amplifies their abilities in some ways, like gives them strength, or other types of things. Where you can manipulate emotion. So there's a bunch of different things that you can do depending on the metal if you have this type of ability. Then within that society as well, there are what are called Mistborn, and Mistborn can use every single metal. They have the ability to do whatever magic the metal allows them to do. And at the beginning of the book, you come across Vin, who is a girl who's in this gang. She is ska and beaten down. She has put up with a lot of abuses, and she ends up coming across a couple people. I'm trying to remember everybody's name. Kelsier, and then some other people who end up kind of taking her in once they realize that she has that misting, I think the regular ones are called misting abilities, but they test her and find out that she is actually a Mistborn, and she didn't even know that she had any sort of powers. She just felt like she was kind of lucky that she was still alive, type of thing. But then she finds out that she is Mistborn. Kelsier is also a Mistborn, and he is trying to bring down the government is what he's doing. So he's gathering these special people that he trusts to help make that happen, to kill the Lord Ruler. So there's a heist element in it. They have to do certain things. They have to figure out how to defeat the Lord Ruler, who everybody thinks is a god and isn't able to kill. And there's so much that happens in this book. So good. I loved it. It was so good. It made me cry. Thinking about it now made me cry in more than one spot. I will definitely be continuing with the series, but technically you could, if you wanted, just read this one and be done, because the way it ended, it could be a standalone if you wanted. I'm definitely not. I definitely do want to continue the series, but I highly recommend it. Even if you aren't one that isn't a big fantasy, like high fantasy reader, I think this would be a pretty good introduction into fantasy, into high fantasy. I mean, it does start out slow, but there's a lot of world building that needs to happen, and understanding and of the magic system, and building of the character relationships in it. But I feel like everything in it is easy to comprehend, though. as you're reading it. And so, yeah, definitely recommend this. And next month, I plan on reading the second book, The Well of Ascension. So 5 stars for sure. Okay, after that, I read The Happy Life of Isadora Bentley. This is by Courtney Welsh, and it's a women's fiction / romance. And it's about a girl named Isadora. She is a university researcher, and she is very set in her ways, very closed off to everything. She feels like she's had a pretty hard life in regards to how she's been treated in her life, and so she's very closed off to people and to making friends and that sort of thing. And so on her, I think it was her 30-something birthday, I can't even remember now, she goes to the mini mart. She's very set in her ways, has this like lonely schedule. She's not really she likes being alone, but she's lonely in a way. I was gonna say she's not happy being alone necessarily, but she comes across this magazine in this mini mart as she's buying some junk food because it's her birthday and it's her way to celebrate. She's depressed, and she is looking at her life and thinking that she should be somewhere that she's not. And so she comes across this magazine, and on the cover it talks about the however many 40 ways, something like that. The 31 ways to be happy today. And she scoffs at it. She's like, what? She picks it up, she looks at the list, and she ends up buying the magazine thinking she wants to prove this list wrong. So she's going to test it out. She's going to research it. She's going to do the 31 different suggestions in the list and prove it wrong, that she's not happier after doing everything. And so that's where it starts. And then she comes across, while she's at work, her boss forces her to help this university professor guy who needs a researcher to help him with this book that he's trying to write. And that's what was his name again? Cal. His name was Cal. And then during her whole discovery of the 31 ways to be happier, she also comes across a couple other people, and all these people end up important to her in her life. And did I say what I gave it? I gave it 4 stars. This was a 4-star read for me. I enjoyed it. The humor was fun. Isadora, sometimes she was her own worst enemy. And I think that's what kind of bothered me with it, where I couldn't give it 5 stars. I wasn't the biggest fan of being in her head. And I did understand some of the reasons why she was the way she acted, but she was unhappy, even though at the beginning she didn't necessarily realize just how unhappy she was. And during the course of the book, she ends up kind of sabotaging herself. And that got a little irritating for me. But, there's ebbs and flows when you're learning things. You learn something, and then maybe you'll fall, and then you pick yourself back up and you learn something again. So that's kind of how it was for her in this book. But I enjoyed the story overall. I liked the secondary characters a lot. The Darby, who was her neighbor, and Marty. I loved them both. And then Darby's daughter was super cute too. Delilah, I think, was her name. Something like that. Anyway, it was good. 4 stars. Okay, after that, I read at middle grade. I read The Adventures of Miss Petitfour. This is by Anne Michaels. This was so charming. I gave this what did I give this? A 4.5 stars. So it didn't give me the 5-star feels, but this was so charming and whimsical and just the funnest little book. It was more of a collection of kind of short stories in it, like 5 or so short stories. And it was about Miss Petitfour that takes place in England. And she had this kind of like a magical ability to fly around different places by using a tablecloth. So she had tablecloths, the wind would pick her up and she would fly where she would need to go in the village that she lived in. With her, like, I think it was like 16 cats that she owned. So as you can see here, they would grab each other's tails and then grab onto Miss Petitfour and fly where they needed to go. And it was just charming. A lot of sweet, cute, charming stories, a bunch of hijinks ensue in it, and it was just a lovely, lovely time. So I know there's a sequel to this one. I think it's called like The Further Adventures of Miss Petitfour, and so I will get to that one eventually because I really, really enjoyed this one. It was so cute, and I think a perfect spring read for sure, even though there are other seasons that take place in this one. I remember it talks about fall in one of the stories and stuff too, but I feel like it's a great one for spring. So that is The Adventures of Miss Petitfour. Then after that, I read Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. I finally got through one of the Abby Jimenez books that I attempted to read, and this was on my 25 books to read in 2025. So I'm happy to say that I completed it. I give this a 4.5 stars. This is about a girl named Emma and a guy named Justin. Emma is a traveling nurse. Her and her best friend, what was her best friend's name? Maddie. They are traveling nurses, and every few weeks to a few months, they pick up and they go somewhere else. So they room together, they make choices together on where they're going to go. And during all this, while they're in one place about to go somewhere else, Emma comes across this Reddit forum where this guy is talking about how it seems like every time he dates someone, he's in a relationship with someone, after they end it in whatever way possible, that his ex-significant other ends up finding his true love and gets married and lives happily ever after type of thing. And Emma was like, the same thing happens to me. They strike up a conversation and they decide, what if we kind of cancel each other out? What if we date each other and then after we break up, we'll end up finding our one we're supposed to be with? And so Emma ends up convincing Maddie to, instead of, they were supposed to move to Hawaii, instead of going to Hawaii, moving to Michigan or Minnesota or something like that. I know it's in the same area that the other 2 books that were before this, Yours Truly and the other one, I don't remember because I DNF'd both of them, take place. So it's in the same place. I think it was Michigan, Minnesota, I don't know. But anyway, so they end up moving, they get a position at this famous hospital there, and they move for a few weeks, like just for over the summer to this hospital. And so Emma and Justin can put forth their trial of dating each other so they can find the one for each of them. And so that, of course, ends up turning into real feelings. And there's a lot in this, though. This Abby Jimenez is really good, I do have to say, in regards to making these characters real and making things in them that these characters are dealing with that are hard things. Emma had been abused as a child in a neglectful way, but she still loves her mother. And I do have to say that I'm very sad. Her mother's name is Amber, so that makes me sad. It feels like that there can never be like a normal character with the name Amber. I'm getting off on a tangent, I know, but let me know in the comments if you've come across a book where the character whose name is Amber is a normal person, a normal good person, not someone that's crazy, not someone that's stuck up, not someone, because it seems like in movies, TV shows, books, my name always gets a bad rap. Anyway, her mother was very neglectful, so she was abusive in a neglectful way, and Emma has a lot of trauma from that. And I won't go into too much more detail than that, but there's a lot of trauma that has to deal with. And then Justin is going to, and it happens pretty much close to the beginning, so I don't feel like it's a spoiler. Justin ends up, because of reasons that you'll find out if you read it, ends up having to take custody of his 3 younger siblings because of reasons. And so they're both dealing with some things that are very hard throughout the book. So there are some heavy things in this, but at the same time, there is a lot of lightness and humor to it too. I feel like Abby Jimenez does a really good job in balancing everything in this story. So it's about their relationship together, their relationship with other people in the story, and how they hopefully work things out in regards to those relationships. So it did not get a full 5 stars for me because there is a ton of profanity, like very harsh language, and I don't like that. That takes me out of the story. And so if that didn't have that in it, it would have been 5 stars. But I wanted to let you know, if you're like me, where profanity, harsh profanity, especially a lot of it, bothers you, there's a lot of F-bombs and stuff. It's just the story really grips me to where I was like, I want to finish it, even though all this stuff is in there. But just an FYI that it is in there a lot. So I read it, I enjoyed it, 4.5 stars, but I won't read any more Abby Jimenez just because, as I found out from the other 2 books I tried to read from her, she's just someone that uses profanity in her stories quite a bit, and that's just not what I like. So if it doesn't bother you, definitely give this one a shot, and her other 2 books that are a part of this series, because I'm sure you'll enjoy them if you haven't read them yet. So, okay, then after that, I got my final 5 stars of the month of May, and that is Anne of the Island by L.M. Montgomery. Oh, I forgot to tell you, so I know. Scatterbrained as usual. This just for the summer, it was set in a beach or lake town. So they actually, Maddie and Emma lived during their time where they were in Minnesota or Michigan, whatever. Like I said, I don't remember. They lived on an island, actually, on a lake. So yeah, so that's that one. Now back to this one. So Anne of the Island, the prompt was continue a series. This was the 3rd book in the Anne of Green Gables series, 5 stars. I have read these in the past. It is an absolute all-time favorite series of mine, but it has been quite a few years since I've read the series, so it's almost like reading them again for the first time, which I've been enjoying so much. So Anne of the Island takes place in Nova Scotia, actually, and on Prince Edward Island. So Anne Shirley, during this book, is off to college at Redmond College, it's called. And so it's about her life there in college and about finding relationships, developing relationships, and a bunch of new characters come in, but there are old characters as well that you get to see, and it's just wonderful. And the ending of this one is one of my favorites. I love it so much. If you're a fan of love, you'll love it too, especially if you've been rooting for these characters since the first book. So I highly recommend the series, and I will continue reading the rest of them, which I do own as well. So yeah, and look at how beautiful this is. So pretty. These are my new versions of the books. I'm slowly collecting these versions. So anyway, so that was that one, 5 stars. Okay, now on to the home fragrance that I used, or that I chose for each of the books. For Apprentice to the Villain, this one I chose Saguaro Desert Rain. This is available and I'll tell you whether it's available or not. This one is part of a collection that's out right now. It might go away at the end of this month. And all my info is always down in the comments or down in the description. So Saguaro Desert Rain is from Petals and Petals collection. And this is a masculine type scent. And it felt to me like it was a good choice in regards to, because we have the villain in this, but it is a very nice kind of like watery, kind of a floral. There's like a powdery like floral to this too. So it felt like it was a good like combo for both Evie and the villain. So that is the first one. Then Bound by Ravens, I ended up choosing aloe water and cucumber, number 1, just because this is one that I wanted to melt. And also some of the story takes place like in the forest where there's a lot of green and watery qualities to it. And so I was like, yeah, I think this one would go really well. So this is a classic. It's a year-round catalog scent, and it's so good. From the title, you would think it wouldn't be very strong, but it's actually a really nice strength type of bar. So good. Okay, then for Lovely War, I chose Coconut Blossoms, which was May's scent of the month. It is still available too. This one just felt like a classic scent to me, like a classic in the early 1900s, which is when this takes place. There is a classic perfumey quality to this, and I think there's a lily of the valley in this, and so I think that's what it is that kind of gives it that like old-fashioned edge to it. It's really nice. I do really enjoy it. I'm pleasantly surprised because I didn't know if I would, because normally Lily of the Valley is a little too overwhelming for me in regards to florals, but the combo with the coconut, and I can't remember what else is in it, it's nice. Okay, then for Mistborn, I had to do this one. I couldn't not do it. Desert Twilight. This is like a arid, dry, deserty type of fantasy world. How could I not do Desert Twilight? This is a really like deserty scent. Desert Twilight is like the perfect name for it, I feel like. It's got amber in it. I feel like, trying to remember what else the notes are. I don't know, other things. It's a really nice, like, deserty scent, summer scent. Okay, for the Happy Life of Isadora Bentley, I decided to go with Luna. This is another classic scent, such a pretty floral. And it felt like one that would be good for such a sweet, like, self-discovery type of story. So Luna was definitely the perfect choice, in my opinion. Okay, then for The Adventures of Miss Petitfour, I had to go with another scent from the Puddles and Petals collection, Quaint Country Rain. This one is another one that I chose because of the title, because it takes place in a quaint village. The whole story is charming, and this is a really nice, like, watery apple orchard type of fragrance, and it's so nice. This is my favorite of the 4 bars. So good. So that was for that one. Then just for the summer, I decided on Squeeze the Day. This one is available year-round, usually too. This is a lemon vanilla scent, but stronger on the lemon part. And it's just perfect for summer, just for the summer. I had to choose this one, so Squeeze the Day. And then for the last one, Anne of the Island, I went with Blooming Marvelous. This one also is a catalog scent, and it's just such a pretty, sweet berry floral scent. Floral isn't overwhelming. This is another one like Luna that I feel like if you aren't normally into florals as far as home fragrance goes, this is a perfect choice. It's so pretty. This is probably my favorite floral that we have in the catalog anyway. It's such a pretty scent. And it works. It works for all the new relationships that are blooming in this story. And it's just sweet, just like the story is. So I had to choose this one. So that's it, you guys. Those are the books that I read for the month of May and the wax that goes with them. And yeah, let me know down in the comments, what did you read during the month? Have you read any of these books that I talked about? And I always love to hear from you all. Even if you just leave a little emoji just to let me know you're here, I'd love to interact with you. So thank you so much for spending some time with me. Please like and subscribe for more book and home fragrance content. And until next time, TTFN, ta-ta for now.